Okay, Dhruvam, you may start.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So, hi everyone. Good morning. My topic was maglev trains. So here we go. First of all, the introduction. What is meant by maglev? So maglev is nothing but magnetic levitation. So when an object is floating or levitating because of a magnetic power is called magnetic levitation. Second one is definition and the principle. So magnetic suspension is a method by which an object is suspended with no other support other than the magnetic field. मतलब जब भी कोई ऑब्जेक्ट लेविटेट कर रहा हो सिर्फ मैग्नेटिक फील्ड के कारण और दूसरा कोई भी मतलब फोर्स या कोई भी एक्टिविटी ना हो रही हो उसे मैग्नेटिक लेविटेशन कहते हैं एंड द
ध्रुव,
प्रिंसिपल ऑन
पूछो
विच
कि
द
लेविटेशन का मतलब पता है क्या सबको? Everyone knows what is the meaning of a levitation and suspension, you asked.
Yes,
सो
ma'am.
डज एवरीवन नो द मीनिंग ऑफ लेविटेशन
Yes.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Without support float कर रहा हो.
Yes, correct. Very good.
Now, the principle on which the magnetic levitation work is that the magnetic power is used to counteract the effects of gravitational force and any other activities. Okay, this is the principle of magnetic levitation. Now, there are three basic principles on which that magnetic levitation work. Maglev trains work. The first one is levitation. The second one is propulsion, and the third one is lateral guidance. So levitation. Now, how the train is able to float in the air is explained in levitation. So the passing of the superconducting magnets through levitation coils on the side of the track induces a current in the coils and creates a magnetic field. This pushes the train upward so that it can levitate 10 centimeter above the track. ना मतलब अभी जब भी कोई ट्रेन पास कर रही हो ट्रैक ट्रैक में से तो ट्रेन के अंदर है ना सुपर कंडक्टिंग मैग्नेट्स होते हैं और ट्रैक के अंदर लेविटेटिंग कॉइल्स होती है तो जब भी कोई ट्रेन पास करे ट्रैक पे से तो वो सुपर कंडक्टिंग मैग्नेट्स और कॉइल के बीच में एक करंट इंड्यूस होता है और उस करंट के कारण एक मैग्नेटिक फील्ड क्रिएट होती है और वही मैग्नेटिक फील्ड ट्रेन को लेविटेट करने में हेल्प करती है फ्लोट करने में हेल्प करती है. Now, the important thing to remember is that the train does not levitate until it reaches 50 mph, that is 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour. And that is the main reason why this type of trains has retractable wheels. रिट्रैक्टेबल व्हील्स मतलब क्या जैसे कि वो एरोप्लेन में होते हैं ना व्हील्स जो कभी भी बाहर आ सकते हैं और अंदर जा सकते हैं तो उसे रिट्रैक्टेबल व्हील्स कहते हैं. ओके. नाउ द सेकंड वन इज प्रपल्शन. प्रपल्शन मीनिंग हाउ द ट्रेन इज एबल टू मूव फॉरवर्ड. ट्रेन आगे कैसे बढ़ रही है दैट इज एक्सप्लेन इन प्रपल्शन. An alternating current is ran through electromagnetic coils on the guide walls of the guideway. This creates a magnetic field that attracts and repels the superconducting magnets on the train and propels the train forward. Now अभी जो ट्रैक होता है ना उसके साइड्स में गाइडवे होती है दोनों साइड में. गाइडवेज के अंदर गाइड वॉल्स होती है और वो गाइड वॉल्स के अंदर इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक कॉइल्स होती है. तो एक ऑल्टरनेटिंग करंट इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक कॉइल्स में से पास किया जाता है और उसके कारण एक मैग्नेटिक फील्ड क्रिएट होती है. तो जब मैग्नेटिक फील्ड क्रिएट होती है ना तो जब ट्रेन चल रही होती है तो उसके अंदर के सुपर कंडक्टिंग मैग्नेट्स को अट्रैक्ट एंड रिपेल करती है और इसी के कारण जो ट्रेन है वो फॉरवर्ड मतलब फॉरवर्ड होती है हो सकती है फिर. ओके. नाउ ब्रेकिंग इज अकम्प्लिश्ड बाय सेंडिंग एन ऑल्टरनेटिंग करंट इन द रिवर्स डायरेक्शन. तो अगर अभी अपने को ब्रेक लगानी हो तो एक ऑल्टरनेटिंग करंट को रिवर्स डायरेक्शन में सेंड करने का सो दैट इट इज स्लोड डाउन बाय अट्रैक्टिव एंड रिपल्सिव फोर्सेस. सो दिस इज प्रपल्शन. Now the third one is lateral guidance. Lateral guidance means how the train is able to remain in the center. Why the train is not tilting in either left or right direction. Train center में कैसे रह रही है? Tilt क्यों नहीं हो रही कोई भी direction में? So when one side of the train nears the side of the guideway, the superconducting magnet on the train induces a repulsive force from the levitation coils on the side closer to the train and an attractive force from the coils on the farther side. This keeps the train in the center. So now in simple meaning, मतलब जब कोई ट्रेन की एक साइड किसी गाइडवे के एकदम नजदीक आ जाती है तो दो प्रोसेसेस होना स्टार्ट हो जाता है. तो जो सुपर कंडक्टिंग मैग्नेट्स है ना ट्रेन के अंदर वो जो नजदीक का गाइडवे है उसके साथ एक रिपल्सिव फोर्स इंड्यूस करती है और उसके साथ साथ जो दूर का गाइडवे है उसके साथ एक अट्रैक्टिव फोर्स इंड्यूस करती है और ये दोनों प्रोसेस स्पॉन्टेनियसली होती है और उसके कारण जो ट्रेन है वो सेंटर में रहती है. ओके. Now there are basically two types of maglev technology. The first one is EMS, that is electromagnetic suspension, and the second one is EDS, that is electrodynamic suspension. Okay. So first one, electromagnetic suspension. In electromagnetic suspension, there are electromagnets attached to the train. They also have ferromagnetic stators on the track, and they can levitate the train. They have guidance magnets on the sides. They also have a computer that changes the amount of current to keep the train 1 centimeter above the track. The maximum speed a train can obtain in EMS system is 438 km per hour, and they also have onboard battery power supply. Onboard battery power supply. Sorry. The second one is EDS, that is electrodynamic suspension. They have super cool superconducting magnets under the train, and they can levitate about 10 centimeter, which is very high from electromagnetic suspension, which can levitate about only 1 centimeter. Now, the field in the train is due to the superconducting magnets or an array of permanent magnets. The force in the track is created by induced magnetic field in wires or conducting stripes in the track. They are naturally stable. They does not require any feedback control, and they require retractable wheels at low speed. And the maximum speed a train can obtain in EDS system is 522 kilometers per hour. Now, the overall summary of maglev train is that they consume less energy. They does not require any engine for working. They move faster than normal trains since there is no ground friction, and the cost to build this type of train is also same as the normal trains. They are incompatible with existing rail lines, वो incompatible अपनी current rail lines के साथ, and unlike traditionally high speed rail, and their initial cost to build is very high. So thank you guys. That was my topic explaining everything about maglev trains. If you have any doubts, just Google it because that's what I have done. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhruvam. Thank you so much. It was a very nice presentation. But before you finish it off, finally, I just would like to ask something to you. Can you explain those
Yes, ma'am.
types of segments? I think what is the basic difference between EMS and EGS? Can you tell me?
Ma'am, here I have written all the points. The system, the both the systems are completely different, ma'am. In EMS system, there are electromagnets attached to the train, while in EDS system, there is super cool superconducting magnets under the train. And
Correct. So it
the
does mean that in EMS, a superconductor is not available. Rather than that, in EDS, superconductor is available. Is that
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
fine? Is it clear to all of you that two technologies he has said? In one of them, electromagnets are used, because always for the electromagnets, when you use the same poles together, it will repel, and if you keep the opposite poles together, it will attract. So if you want a train to levitate, you should keep the same poles. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
One more thing,
Ma'am, can you
Dhruvam, that
repeat it?
when EGS technology is there, yes,
Yes, ma'am.
when EGS technology is there, how the
Yes, ma'am.
train levitates and how it moves ahead. Both the things I would like to know in a very
Yes, ma'am.
clear way.
Ma'am,
Even if you
in
may draw it in the page if you have, and you can explain.
uh, no, ma'am. I actually don't know about in EDS system how the train levitate without.
Okay. So same thing, can you explain me again what you have explained here in the EDAs? What happens? You have said two threads are there, one guideways are there, superconductor in the train.
यस मैम. हाँ, तो मैम जब ट्रेन पास होती है ट्रैक में से, तो वो जो गाइडवेज के अंदर है ना, इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक कॉइल्स होती है. उसके इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक कॉइल्स में हम एक ऑल्टरनेटिंग करंट पास करते हैं, तो उसके कारण करंट जब भी पास होता है तो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड क्रिएट होती है, और वो मैग्नेटिक फील्ड जो है वो सुपर कंडक्टिंग मैग्नेट्स को अट्रैक्ट और रिपेल करती है, और उसी के कारण जो ट्रेन है वो फॉरवर्ड डायरेक्शन में मूव होती है. या
Okay, fine. Anybody else has any question?
मैम जो ये लेवल
Sandeep, want to ask something?
यस मैम, जो ये लेविटेशन वाला टॉपिक है ये उसी जीआईएफ पे बेस है ना, जो संकेत ने हमको दिखाया था.
हाँ. That is based on the same thing. Here, this is the levitation. As also said, principle, that is also correct. It's clear? No, please keep your mic on.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And I'm just sharing my screen for a few moments, then keep yours afterwards over there. Huh? Just to explain something. See here, whenever you are writing about application of the superconductor, જ્યારે પણ તમે superconductor ની application છો હંમેશા, so in a very first stage you will be writing its a principle. સૌથી પહેલા તમે એનો principle લખશો કોઈ પણ application વિશે પૂછ્યું હોય તો. If any of the applications have been asked, first of all you write down its principle, that on which principle it works. Fine. Principle. Now here what characteristics we have studied in the superconductor. આપણે જે પણ characteristics બધી ભણ્યા superconductors ની કે zero resistivity is there, Meissner's effect is there, critical magnetic field is there, persistent current is there, effect of impurity, effect of pressure. What do you think that which characteristic you should apply over here? એ બધામાંથી કઈ characteristic વધારે અહીંયા આના પર? Yes, somebody has written it in the chat. All others, are you agree with him or her? See, you have got something in the chat. તમે બધા agree છો એની સાથે?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it correct? Meissner's effect. What happens in the Meissner's
ma'am.
effect when there is a superconductor and you above that superconductor, that magnet levitates. આપણે વિડિયો પણ જોયો હતો ને? મેગ્નેટ એને ટચ થતું નથી અને એની ઉપર લેવિટેટ થાય છે, એની ઉપર લટક્યા કરે છે. Fine. So here you may apply, you may write that here the principle of Meissner's effect is used. Fine. And principle of Meissner's effect is used, that you will be writing, then you will be writing what is a Meissner's effect in a very short manner. એક કે બે sentence માં તમે લખશો કે whenever superconductor is kept in the magnetic field, magnetic field will be expelled from the superconductor. That is known as the Meissner's effect. Is this principle is okay? Principle માં કોઈને કોઈ doubt છે આમાં?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No. Okay, so first you will be writing this as a principle. Fine. Second thing, what I wanted you to have, that is the simple diagram, if you know. Fine. Now how you will draw diagram, then I am just showing you a very simple diagram, that how it works, that you may show later on in your diagram. See, for example, this is the maglev train. This is one bogie of a maglev train. Now in this bogie, what they used to do, there is a superconducting material inside this train. And as Dhruvam has said, there are retracted wheels. Superconductor તો હોય જ છે અહીંયા બધે, પણ જોડે જોડે wheels પણ હોય છે, બરાબર? એટલે initially when the speed is very low, at that time the wheels are outside, and once train will float, after that wheels will move inside. In the aeroplane, all of you are aware, initially runway પર take off કરવું હોય તો wheels are needed or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Needed.
Yes, ma'am.
But then after they will not. So afterwards the wheels will move inside. Same way it happens over here. Now the tracks, how the tracks are given over here. અહીંયા track કેવી રીતે તમને આપેલા હોય છે? તો track માં what will happen in the track? Here you will be having a alternate current. Track માં તમને alternate current જોવા મળશે. And before that, I just would like to ask you that when we had seen a Meissner's effect, when there is a superconductor is kept in any magnetic field, this magnetic field will be repelled. હવે repel થવાનું કારણ શું હશે? એની બહારથી કેમ મૂવ થતું હશે? અંદર એવું શું થતું હશે મટીરિયલમાં કે આ મેગ્નેટિક ફિલ્ડ બહાર જ રહે છે ને અંદર નથી જઈ શકતું? તમારે રૂમમાં જવું છે, તમે અંદર નથી જઈ શકતા, તો એનું શું રીઝન હોઈ શકે? ડોર ઇઝ ઓપન,
अंदर से
two
मैं कोई
bouncers
ऑपोज
are
कर रहा हूँ.
standing there. Bouncers are standing there. You would like to move inside, still you may not able to. How? Yes, it converts into a diamagnetic material, that I do agree. But what happened inside that material? What happened inside the diamagnetic material when you give the external magnetic field? What happens inside the diamagnetic material? What happens to the spins of
Ma'am,
the
is it
dipoles of the
maybe a
material?
opposite magnetic field is created
Of
inside the
course,
material?
yes. If we take this magnetic field lines, which is in the upward direction, then all the dipoles, they are trying to set themselves into the opposite direction to the magnetic field. Because they will set opposite to the magnetic field, it means it resists it. That's why the magnetic field may not be able to come inside. Is that?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All of you are agreed? Fine. So it means there is an effect of the magnetic field even inside the material. Material ni andar par magnetic field produce thaya જ છે. But that is in the opposite direction. Now, when we are passing alternate current through this track ma permanent magnetic field na hoy, they are passing AC current, and we always know that whenever AC current will pass through, what will be there in the surrounding of the AC current? કોઈ બી કરંટ પાસ થતો હોય તો એના સરાઉન્ડિંગ માં કયું મેગ્નેટિક ફિલ્ડ રહેલું હોય?
induced magnetic field.
ના કરંટ પાસ થતો હોય તો સોરી એના સરાઉન્ડિંગ માં મેગ્નેટિક ફિલ્ડ રહેલું હોય ને, electromagnetic effect. So when you will start passing this AC current, alternate current means alternately the wave will move continuously. Current will move alternately up, down, crest and trough, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. And then due to that, what will happen that here, due to alternate current, this is, if will work as a north pole, here this is as a south pole. This is as a north, south pole. This is as a north pole. This one will work as a south pole. Fine. Because there is a positive cycle, negative cycle, positive cycle, negative cycle. Due to that, poles will also change. Due to this change of the cycle. Now, when you want this train to move ahead inside the superconductor, what will happen? The field, magnetic field of the superconductor, for example, this is the magnetic field when creates inside the superconductor, it is in this manner. Superconductor ma પણ અંદર magnetic field તો produce થાય જ છે ને. So here what will happen, it has been produced in a such a way, this is south and this is north pole. This is north and this is south pole. So will they attract or repel with each other?
Attract.
They will attract. Fine. So again, when this train moves ahead, this will be altered. Alternate current એવી રીતે જતો છે કે જશે એટલે અહીંયા north ના બદલે south થઈ જશે અને અહીંયા north થઈ જશે. So again this south will be attracted by this north.
Yes, ma'am.
Again when train is moving ahead, again it will alter, and instead of this north, this will become south and this will become north. So again the attractive force will remain there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So the train will move ahead and parallelly, because it's a superconductor and a magnetic field, that superconductor will levitate. It will not touch the track slowly as its a force will increase. Alternate current will increase, magnetic field in the surrounding will increase. Due to that, the floating will also increase, the levitation will also increase. Now, if this alternate current is arranged in a such a way, ધારો કે આ alternate current ને હું એવી રીતે arrange કરું છું કે, for example, આ train ની bogie છે, here this is the, if the magnetic field is produced by the superconductor is in a such a way that this is a south, this is a north, this is a south, this is a north, and on the track it has been produced in this way. This is a south, this is a north. What will happen in this case? What will happen in between these two poles? What will happen in between these two poles?
They repel.
ट्रेन पीछे जाएगी. Repulsion
Yes,
होगा,
train
पीछे जाएगी.
पीछे तो हम नहीं भेजेंगे ट्रेन को, but at least if we would like to stop the train, we would like to break it, then, or we would like to reduce its speed, we will keep the direction of the alternating current in a such a way that same poles will be there together. So it will ripple, and due to that, the force will be less, and slowly train will get stopped, and the wheels will come out. Is it clear to all of you? Fine.
Yeah, ma'am.
So this is very basic concept. You do not just would like to go for the very tough things or everything. You just have to write down the principle. You just draw the diagram, which basic diagram I have drawn, and you can explain the thing that when train has to inside the train, inside to the bogie, at the floor of the bogie. See, take it there. At the floor of the bogie, superconductor is placed, and the tracks are prepared from the electromagnetic material. The materials are used in such a way that they can give very strong electromagnets. They can work as a very strong electromagnets. When the same poles will be produced in between the bogie and the tracks, repulsion will be there and train will get slow. When the opposite poles will be there, in that case, the attraction will happen. So you just have to write down that what will happen when the opposite poles will be with the same poles will be there, and train will levitate due to the superconductor and this magnetic field. So this diagram is done. After the diagram, what you will be explaining, that is known as a working. તમે જે આ explain કરશો એને શું કહી દેશો? એનું working. That will be the working of the application. And once working has been done, now if you are aware that if there is a specific advantages of this thing, then you write down advantages of that particular thing. આનો advantage શું થઈ શકે? કહો તો. જો એ હવામાં ચાલતી હોય તો which is very first advantage of this maglev train?
Speed मैम, friction नहीं लगेगा ना.
Speed. Its speed is very high, है ना? Speed उसकी उतनी high होती है कि somewhere around 500 kilometer वो बहुत जल्दी से कट कर देती है. You may assume that if you would like to move from here to Baroda, it takes 5 minutes. So 100 kilometers, around 100 kilometers, it can travel within 5 minutes. है ना? सबसे पहले ये जो ट्रेन शुरू हुई थी, मैगलेव ट्रेन कहाँ पे शुरू हुई थी? Do you know? Very first मैगलेव ट्रेन, sorry, जापान में चल रही है. But very first was started actually in the London, Birmingham. That was in 1911. But all of you know that even today also the superconductors are very costly. So at that time it would be much more costlier. क्योंकि धीरे धीरे से रूम टेम्परेचर पे भी सुपरकंडक्टर तो अभी हमें मिला 2018-19 में, वो भी हम डे टू डे लाइफ में तो यूज कर ही नहीं सकते. So in 1911, whatever the superconductors were available, how costly those superconductors were? The system, the whole system was so costly. If you have to keep the temperature down, it takes too much amount of the cost. Fine. Second thing, that if these tracks are of electromagnet, you are passing through the tracks, then there is a magnetic field in the surrounding of these tracks. अब जितना करंट ज्यादा होगा, जितना हमें ज्यादा लेविटेशन चाहिए, उतना ज्यादा मैग्नेटिक फोर्स वहां पे होना चाहिए या नहीं?
Yes, ma'am.
એનો બંનેમાં છે. અમને પોણા બારે ટોપિક આપેલા છે, એટલે જો આપેલા હોય તો એ રેડી રહેજે. Yes. So magnetic field is in a very high amount. So at that time, the government of the Birmingham, after certain years of working of this train, they have declared that because it is the strong magnetic field is there in the surrounding of the track, it may damage to the human body. બહુ જ વધારે higher amount નું magnetic field એ human body ને hazard કરી શકે છે. And due to this hazard, they wanted to stop that they have declared as a biohazard. And a biohazard તરીકે એ લોકોએ declare કર્યું કે એ human being ના body ને કરી શકે આટલું high level નું magnetic field. That is the first thing. Second thing, that the economic conditions, કારણ કે બહુ જ કોસ્ટલી પ્રોજેક્ટ હતો અને એને કન્ટિન્યુ કરવું હોય તો they have to invest lots of money in that. Instead of that they can go for any other project. એમાં બહુ જ બધા રૂપિયા ઇન્વેસ્ટ કરી નાખે ખાલી સુપર કંડક્ટરને મેન્ટેન કરવા માટે. એના કરતા બીજા એવા પ્રોજેક્ટ લઈ શકે ને કે જે ડે ટુ ડે લાઈફમાં બીજા બધાને વધારે યુઝફુલ થાય અને જેની ફ્રૂટફુલનેસ વધારે હોય. So then they have stopped after almost 6 to 7 years that project. So very first train was there actually in the Birmingham, પણ એ પછી બંધ થઈ ગઈ. એટલે એનો સૌથી પહેલો એડવાન્ટેજ છે કે એની સ્પીડ બહુ વધારે હોય છે. Second advantage is there is no friction. બંને વસ્તુ એક જ છે, but because it moves in the air, friction is a very less. That you may write as the first advantage, and as a second advantage you may write that it has a very high speed. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
If maglev train will be asked to you, will you all be able to write it down? હવે જો તમારી બુકમાં બહુ જ બધું આપ્યું તો એટલું બધું લખવાની કોઈ જરૂર નથી. આ પ્રમાણે
Ma'am,
point
can
wise
we write,
તમે
ma'am, can we write this
Yes.
advantage that in maglev train there is no use of fuel?
આમ fuel use નથી થતું પણ એનર્જી તો વપરાય જ છે ને તમારી. પોલ્યુશન નથી કરતી. You may write it in that way.
Pollution free.
Okay.
Eco-friendly.
Pollution. Okay, ma'am.
Pollution free, you may write it down. It's a pollution free. Now in the London, Birmingham, they have declared as a biohazard, but we do not know still that up to how much amount is it. So that was the real reason only, or cost was also the reason for this same. That's why they have stopped. That is not declared yet. પણ જાપાનમાં હજી ચાલુ છે. એટલે આ fuel use નથી કરતો. એના કરતા એને અલગ ટર્મમાં તમે લખી શકો કે એમાં this pollution will not be there. અને એમાં તો બી એનું પોતાનું એન્જિન તો હોય જ છે. એટલે કે somehow if this superconductor will not work or at very slow speed you would like to use it, કે જ્યારે ઇનિશિયલમાં લેવિટેટ નથી થતી ત્યારે તો કોઈક ફોર્સ જોઈએ ને એને ચલાવવા માટેનો. At that time this engine will work. એટલે આ ત્રણ એના advantages છે. Is this clear? When any of the applications will be asked of the superconductors, you will write in this manner. First principle, second it's a diagram, third it's a advantage. એનું વર્કિંગ હંમેશા તમારે સમજી લેવાનું અને એને સિમ્પલ સેન્ટેન્સીસમાં હાલ તમારી જોડે જે નોટ્સ હોય એમાં લખી રાખવાનું. બરાબર?
Yeah, ma'am.
Fine.
Yes,
If this
ma'am.
is clear to all of you, we would like to move ahead with the another application. Are we going for the cryotron? Dhruvam, who is next?
Ma'am, Shivansh is next.